Today I want to show you a new knife that I just received in the mail. This is a Queen Lockback in amber winter bottom bone, and we're going to compare it to the Buck 110. As you can see, there's not that much size difference between the two, except for the Queen is a little bit more slender, ever so slightly shorter, and there is also a pretty good weight difference. It's a lot lighter than the Buck 110. Now let's open the blades up and we'll get a better size comparison. The camera's shooting pretty straight down, so you won't have distortions from one knife being further away and the camera being on an angle. If you notice, the tips are lined up. Your cutting edge starts at the same spot. So blade wise, they're about identical. This has a little curve here in the clip point, where this one is just a straight clip point. Now when you get to the handle, the 110 is just a hair longer, but being a lot of brass in the construction, it's quite a bit heavier. This, having bone and thinner brass liners, nickel silver bolsters, this is quite a bit lighter. It's a very noticeable difference. I mean, in hand, it almost feels half the weight. Let me give you a close-up of the bone. It's an amber winter bottom bone. There's a Queen shield. Here's the other side. Now for a locking knife, that is pretty awesome. You don't see all kinds of gapping. The knife is tight. The termination here is clean, nice and square. Blade centering is absolute perfection. Now on the Buck, I've had this knife since the early 80s. This is one of the first knives I bought after I got my driver's license. You'll see the centering is off. It was off when it was brand new. Other than that, the fit and finish is pretty decent on this knife. I believe these are ebony covers. You can see how tarnished this brass is from age. Now when I open this, there's some side-to-side wobble and a hair of up and down wobble. And again, this knife was like that since it was new. This Queen, on the other hand, absolutely rock solid. No up and down travel, no side to side wiggle. And that lockup is really solid. I'm going to take this knife up to the microphone. That's a snap open. Nice and solid. Snaps closed, not super hard, but lockbacks don't snap closed super hard. Let's compare that with the Buck. Pretty similar. I really like this knife a lot. It's still more than big enough to have a complete hand on a knife. You could have triple extra large hands and you would have no problem having a grip on this knife. Like I said, it's not that much different than what you have on the Buck 110. And I would question whether this last part here, with how much it flares down, that's how usable that really is. I mean, you would have to have a really large hand to cover that whole entire knife. With the grooves in the bone, this gives you such a secure grip, very comfortable grip, pretty much no matter how you hold it. Give you a close-up of the blade. See, Queen cutlery. I think that says number 3L 1095 carbon steel. That's another nice thing about this knife. This is going to patina and be beautiful in time. Blade stamp. Very nicely done. I'm quite sure this is also made by Bear & Son. But on the queens that I have, the new queens from them, that's not a gap, that's just a coloration in the bone right there. The queens that I have that were Bear & Son made have all been excellent so far. They've really stepped up the quality when it comes to making the new queens. So I do have to tell you, if you're considering a new Buck 110, this is not a bad choice. This was $77.99. Hard to beat. I think that's a good deal compared to the 110s. An excellent knife, and in carbon steel, half the weight, better grip, better ergonomics, better build, better fit and finish. What's not to like about it? So if you haven't seen these, check out some of the new queens. They're just excellent. That's going to be it for today. We'll see you on the next one.